Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've never really done a story time on this channel or any story times ever, but I feel like I've accumulated quite a few good stories throughout the years that I feel like you guys might find interesting or funny, I don't know. But at the time, this was not funny for me. I was not laughing. This was probably one of the crazier stories that I have involving a boy. So the story begins, I guess I want to say around the time that I started social media, probably like 2016, 2017. And there's this boy, and we're gonna call him Max. And I'd known about this boy because he was popular on social media way before I was. He was like a Viner or whatever. So he was popular on social media way before I was. And we had each other on Snapchat. We had like said hi to each other before, but it was nothing crazy. And I always thought he was cute, but I never really saw him as being someone who was obtainable, and I always had like a weird feeling about him, but we'll get to that because my intuition was like spot on. So I talked to him a couple times, but like very briefly. It was never anything serious. And then probably, I want to say it was the beginning of 2019 when I really started talking to Max. And Max, I always thought he was so gorgeous, and Max was really cute. We had a lot in common. He seemed like a nice guy. I mean, he was always nice, but the only problem that I had with Max is we would make plans to hang out and then nothing would ever happen. So like, I'd be like, hey, let's actually hang out and not just text. And he'd be like, yeah, cool, we'll hang out tomorrow night. And then tomorrow night would roll around and I would get ready and I would do my makeup and I would be ready to go see Max, and Max would ghost my ass every single time. Let me tell y'all something about myself. I'm usually not the girl who will keep pursuing someone if they don't seem interested, but I was in this weird limbo of I felt like he liked me, like I felt like things were good, and when he talked to me he always had some sort of valid excuse as to why he didn't answer or why things didn't work out, and he would always reschedule. And there was a few times we probably made plans to hang out, like I want to say like 30, 40 times, and we maybe hung out like 5 times. But the 5 times that we hung out were actually really cool. You know, we went on like a few date type things, and we never really said that's what it was, but like it was very obvious. So the first date we went mini golfing. I had a lot of fun. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I really like this kid. And mind you, I had just gotten out of a relationship, so I was like, I don't know if I want to rush into anything, but I think I really like him. And then the second time, I think we went to like sushi, and that was cool. When I finally went to his house, he would have his friends over, and his friends were all cool with me. He was very like PDA, affectionate with me in front of his friends in his house. I took that as a sign of, oh, like this might be a thing. I mean, he would like kiss me in front of his friends, and I was like, okay. So, you know, I thought, being stupid, that this was going somewhere. And mind you, during this time, everyone and their mothers that I was telling about this kid were like, don't do it, everyone knows he's a player, everyone knows he's a player. And I was like, no, he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. Like, I can see where that could, you know, it could be weird, but I was sitting here getting ghosted, and so I kind of put him on the back burner, and I would like hang out with him, but then I wouldn't really think about it afterwards. But it got to the point where we had been talking for a few months, and I mean, I was going to his house and staying until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't have a car at this time, so I was Ubering back and forth to his house. We did a lot of things together. We went a lot of places. I mean, at least I feel like we did, considering the amount of times that he absolutely swerved me. We hung out quite a bit, and I felt like this was getting serious, I want to say. But I'm also a person who likes to be in a committed relationship. I like when things are stable. I like when I'm not for the team, like I'm for one person in that moment. Like I've never been someone who can talk to multiple people at once. So when I like someone, that's the person that I want to be with. And I was getting the same vibes, obviously. Of course I was hurt when I kept getting stood up, but I don't know, for some reason I had this weird like doubt in my head that it would, you know, turn into something. So this is where the story takes a sharp right turn. Mind you, he never came to my house. I always went to his house, which I understand. At the time, like, I had family living with me, and I get it. But, you know, I always found that a little bit weird. And that's another thing that kind of put doubt in my mind that this was gonna be a thing. Excuse me. That's another thing that put like doubt in my mind that this was gonna be a thing. I was very naive at the time, and even my mom was like, Lauren, like, I don't know how you don't see that this kid is playing you. But we were all like, but he's so cute. And I remember I used to like think this kid was so cute when I was younger. I used to watch his like vines while I was waiting for the bus at school. So this was like a big deal for me, and the fact that he was cool and we got along kind of brainwashed me in a sense. He did the little Jedi mind trick on me. And I'm not that naive now. I've learned from my experience, and to this day he'll still DM me, but we'll get there. So this is when things kind of got weird. It was the last night that I'd hung out with him, and the last time I've ever seen him actually, which is really awkward. But this last night that I was there kind of really had me thinking that this was turning into a relationship. Like, he was very claiming me and very PDA with his friends, introducing me to people, and I was at his house until like 4 in the morning. And I also want to put it out there before you guys assume anything. I have lots and lots of respect for myself. Even though I was a little bit brainwashed and a little bit confused and a little bit doubtful, I still never took it far with this kid. Like, the most we ever did was kiss, and that's kind of where I left it. And there were times where like he wanted it to escalate, and I'm just not that person. So nothing between us sexually ever happened. I just didn't want to take it that far, especially because I had something in the back of my head saying, don't do it, don't be another one of those girls, don't be another notch in the belt. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go home, it's past my bedtime, way past my bedtime, and I'm gonna call an Uber. So I called my Uber and I get in the car. And this is where things got really weird, because my Uber turned around and looked at me with this look of disgust. Like, I've never had anyone look at me with this much disgust and like absolute distaste this man had for me, and I had no idea why. He was probably like a middle-aged, just a normal middle-aged dude. He turned around to me and he goes, I remember you. I've never met this man in my life. I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in Taken 3 right now. Like, am I being kidnapped? He treated me like he knew me, and I had never seen this man before. So now I'm tripping big balls, and I'm like, huh? And he's like, I remember you. But he's saying it in a tone that's like, I remember you. Like, I did something to him personally. Like, this man is talking to me like I killed his family. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I think you have the wrong person. I don't think we've ever met before. And he goes, no, I remember you because I remember him. And I'm like, huh? And he was like, yeah, it was this house and it was this kid. And the words that came out of his mouth next, mind you, we're driving now, so I can't like jump out of the car and like lose my mind. He turns around to me at a stoplight, and the car slows down, we stop. And he turns around to me and goes, you gave that kid in the back of my car. My heart fell right through my ass. And I looked at him, and I had to hear it again. Like, I had to make sure that he was saying what I thought he said. So I was like, I'm sorry, what was that? And he goes, you gave him in the back of my car in an Uber. And I was like, so now I'm sitting there thinking, because I know for a fact it's not me, because A, I would never do that, ever. That's disgusting, and I would never degrade myself like that. If you're performing sexual acts in an Uber, that's on you. But that's just so not me, and that's so against everything that like I stand for. I have way too much pride for that. So now I'm offended, and I'm like, there's no way. You've got me mixed up with someone else, because it definitely wasn't me. And he goes, it might not have been you, but it was definitely him. And now the gears in my head are spinning at full speed, and I'm thinking and I'm thinking, and I'm like, oh my god, what if he's right? I was like, you're sure? Like, I keep asking him if he's sure, and this man is positive. And he was like, yeah, I picked him up from Dave & Buster's, which is somewhere that he went quite often. And he was like, I picked him up from Dave & Buster's. He was with this girl. They got in the back. Her brother got in the front. And I looked in my mirror and I saw what was going on, and I dropped them off, and I had to get my whole car cleaned out because things were happening in the back seat of that Uber. Mind you, I'm sitting in the back seat of that same car. So now not only am I like disgusted, I'm uncomfortable, I'm looking around me like, ew. So now I'm pissed because I asked him, I go, sir, do you remember when this was? And he goes, about a week ago. So now all the pieces are falling into place. Why he never answered me, why he never hung out with me. I mean, he did, and when he did, it was like really special, but then when he didn't, he made up some like stupid, weird, like off the wall excuse. Now, I'm freaking out a little bit. I'm scrolling through his Instagram and like the people that he follows, and I'm asking the Uber driver, is this her? Is this the girl you saw? Is this her? Does she look like this? And he's like, no. Oh, well, it could have been her. It could have been her. And at this point, I give up. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm done talking to this kid because obviously this guy knows something I don't. And he's like, did I rat someone out? And I was like, no, I'm glad you did. And honestly, I wasn't even that mad. I was more just like disgusted by the whole situation. Very degrading and weird situation all the way around. And you know, I asked this kid multiple times, what's the deal? Like, is this like, what are you looking for? Are you just looking for a hookup? And he was always like, no. I filmed this a while ago, but this ended kind of abruptly. So anyways, he told me that he was into me and only me, and that was a whole lie. And I will see you guys next time. I love you. Bye.